In this video, we're going to walk you through the full process of welding a stainless steel tube frame. First, we begin with assembling the tubes and tack welding them. This part requires a lot of attention and can take some time. Using a tape measure, square, and other tools, we carefully position the tubes according to the drawing dimensions and tack weld them in place. The reason we start with tack welding to secure the frame is pretty obvious. Using just a few small welds causes much less heat distortion, and before the whole frame is fully secured, this is the only way to weld it. As you can see, during the assembly and tack welding stages, the workpiece is placed on a metal platform. This platform needs to be very flat. For standard-sized frames, this type of platform works well. However, for larger frames, a full steel platform can be too expensive, so we use a custom-built structure, like a welded frame, to replace the entire surface. We only need to ensure the key support areas are properly positioned. The top of this frame may need to be milled to ensure it's perfectly flat, which is critical for accuracy. At the same time, we need to measure the diagonal lengths to make sure that the frame is perfectly square. When we get to the actual welding, the full weld, the heat from the welding process can cause the frame to warp. To prevent this, we use temporary support tubes. This is really important. Even though there will be some weld scars after we remove them, these supports help prevent warping. In the end, grinding off the weld marks is much easier and more cost-effective compared to fixing the warping afterwards. Once the outer frame is tack welded, we move on to welding the inner tubes. If there are specific distances we need to maintain between holes, we'll use fixtures to hold them in place and remove them after welding. Some stainless steel tubes are welded into the frame as pre-assembled parts. A wooden mallet is quite handy for adjusting the position of the tubes, because they can still be shifted a bit right after tack welding. As you can see, getting precise measurements relies heavily on the welder's experience and attention to detail. The frame is starting to take shape now. You might be wondering how to position the pipes when welding. Well, it's usually done by measuring with a tape measure or a ruler, then marking the lines with chalk. After that, we place the pipe and double-check the measurements with the tape measure. Once you get experienced, you can sometimes skip the double-checking because, while marking, you'll remember the exact position. Even if the lines are slightly off, you'll know the actual position compared to where the lines are. This method works well for general size accuracy, typically within a ±1 mm tolerance, and it's pretty efficient, which is why it's commonly used. When higher precision is needed, we can use fixtures to ensure accuracy. Once the tack welding is done, we move on to the full welding. This part really tests the welder's skills. Not every welder can achieve beautiful and high-quality welds. The full welding process can take some time, but since the steps are similar, we haven't shown too much of it in this video. After welding is complete, we need to remove the temporary support tubes. Since the welds are on one side of the tube, you can just rotate the tubes by hand to remove them. It's not too difficult. Once the tubes are removed, there will inevitably be some weld scars left behind. We can grind these off carefully. But be cautious, if you accidentally damage the surface or grind too deeply and create dents, it could result in irreparable defects or even scrap. After grinding, the surface finish will be different from the original material finish. To make it match, we can apply a brushing process to make the surface consistent. Of course, this only applies if the product has a brushed finish. Weld areas will form dark brown scorch marks. We can remove these marks using electrolytic polishing, which involves applying an electrolyte solution to the surface and applying electricity to remove the oxide layer. At this point, the stainless steel tube frame is pretty much complete. We hope this helps you understand the basic process and technical requirements. If you have any more questions or need help with producing stainless steel frames, leave a comment below or reach out to us by email.